It's the kind of crime that sends shivers up the backs of mothers everywhere. An innocent 18-year-old girl is pulled over by what she thinks is a police officer. That officer turns out to be a monster who rapes and kills her, not an officer at all. Now that killer, James Curtis, wants to be released from prison. The crime happened so long ago, the voices of the victims are only echoes. In a story you'll see only here on Local 12, Rich Jaffe shows us that's why you could make the difference.
It was 5:30 in the morning, Mother's Day, 1975. 18-year-old college student Suzanne Candler was headed home on I-75 to surprise her mom in Lima. She didn't make it.
This is just one of those really, really horrible cases. I mean, this is truly the intersection of good and evil.
Near Galbraith Road on I-75, Candler was pulled over by what she thought was a police car, complete with flashing lights. Inside the car, James Curtis, a one-time security guard dressed like a cop. He rapes the 18-year-old girl, shoots her in the head, and dumps her body in the bushes.
They found the gun that he used to shoot her. They found that in his trunk. They found her purse, her ring, and her watch in his home when they searched his home.
Lisa Mull took care of Suzanne's mom for years before she died. Lisa still has Suzanne's Barbie dolls, and she made Suzanne's mom a promise.
They promised her that he would never see the light of day, is her words. But she did ask me at one time that if it ever did come about and she was gone, asked me if I would step up and represent her and Suzanne.
Making this whole situation worse is the fact that 1 hour before James Curtis raped and murdered Suzanne Candler, he had stopped another woman here along 75 near 275. She managed to get away from him and later identified him to police. But earlier that same evening, Curtis had been pulled over by a real cop and warned about impersonating an officer. But because of the way the law was written at that time, there wasn't much the real cop could do about it.
There was a crime for impersonating a police officer, but you had to be committing another crime. And it was a low-level offense. I'm not even sure what it was. The law is so old it's hard to even research it, but it was a low-level offense.
Already designated a sexual predator, tomorrow 66-year-old James Curtis is up for a parole hearing. James Curtis was originally sentenced to death for the murder of Suzanne Candler, but that became life in prison a few years back when Ohio overturned the death penalty. Shortly after he was convicted, Ohio changed the law on impersonating a police officer and made it a felony as a result specifically of this case.
I mean, it's just amazing that you can do this kind of monster act and get out of prison at all.
Absolutely.
Is the guy from around here, was he a local guy or was he driving through?
When he was arrested, he was living in Reading, so he clearly knew the area, and that's one of the things that enabled him to do this so efficiently. But the thing that really bothers me here, remember, that same night, he was stopped by a real cop, and he couldn't do much about it, but he warned him. And then he went hunting again, and he got that other woman. She was fortunate enough to get away, and then he catches Candler. And you have to wonder if he hadn't done it all before.
Absolutely. Rich, thanks very much. I have a bit more information. Maybe you'd like to help voice your opinion at least on whether James Curtis should get out of prison. You can go to our website and click on the Get It button there, the red button, for links that will take you to a Columbus Victims Advocate site and also the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office. At either or both, you can sign your name to online petitions that will be delivered directly to the parole board.